My name is Patrick Livingood, and I'm an archaeologist here at the University of Oklahoma. I mostly work in the southeastern part of North America on Native American communities that date from a few centuries before and after European arrival. Archaeologists call the people who lived in this place and time Mississippians. I am fundamentally interested in understanding the social and political lives of their communities. I love how from only archaeological information we can reconstruct a great deal about the social rules they developed for themselves and lived within. For example, compared to a few centuries before, we can tell that Mississippian communities had powerful leaders. In some places, these leaders lived in houses that were placed on giant earthen mounds erected by the community. There were also powerful and influential ritual specialists who spread ideas about the nature of existence and developed new art and rituals to reinforce and recapitulate this understanding. There were region-wide episodes of violence and conflict, and there were also centuries in which more peaceful interactions were the norm. Understanding these histories and these processes is why I am excited to be an archaeologist. Recently, I've worked with colleagues from the Oklahoma Archaeological Survey and the Arkansas Archaeological Survey at the site of Spiro in eastern Oklahoma. Spiro was the largest and most important site in eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas for much of the time it was in use, which is approximately AD 900 to 1450. The site is world famous because around AD 1400, the people of Spiro repurposed and remodeled one part of an earthen mound where they had been burying their dead for centuries into a new kind of display of the cosmos. On top of a low earthen platform, they created a circular arrangement of figurines, baskets, stone pipes, masks, tapestries, beads, ornaments, and the regalia of shaman into a display that has been interpreted by archaeologist Jim Brown as a sort of a map of the cosmos. On this display, they represented relationships between this world and the worlds below and above, as well as mapped the arrangements between the corners of the earth as they knew it. Within this display, they included figures of powerful supernatural creatures and beings, like the semi-divine morning star. And all of this is overseen along one wall of this diorama by a figurative audience of their ancestors, as represented by wooden ancestor statues that were centuries-old antiques at the time they were placed there. Some of the objects in this display were heirlooms, and some of the objects were originally made hundreds of miles away. In all, they assembled the largest collection of fine ritual artifacts that has been found anywhere in North America. They capped this display over with a clay dome that inadvertently preserved some of the cloth and the wood, and it lay there until the 1930s, when it was looted by people that were essentially treasure hunters. Because this assemblage was ransacked and desecrated, rather than excavated by archaeologists, there's a limit to what we can know about this event through those materials alone. A few years ago, my colleagues and I decided to use remote sensing equipment like a magnetometer and ground-penetrating radar to investigate the non-mound areas at Spiro. As you probably know by now, these technologies are like an X-ray or an MRI for the ground and allow archaeologists to detect locations where people disturbed the ground in the past. We were astonished to discover that there were dozens of houses, perhaps more than 100, around the Craig Mound, and they all appear to have been in use at the same time. A few years ago, students from the University of Oklahoma helped excavate 4 of these houses that were going to erode into a creek at the site, and discovered they were more like tents than houses with no real evidence of long-term use. We are still working to date when these temporary houses were used, but it is certainly possible that they represent the campground around AD 1400 when hundreds of people converged at Spiro in a pilgrimage to construct this special cosmic display. This research is helping to give valuable insights into a really important and unique event, and is also shedding light on how the Spiro people interacted with others across much of North America, how they organized themselves, and what kinds of prerogatives were given to important political and religious leaders.